been in Mexico for about a week now.
You boys like Mexico? Yeah!
And I belong to a Facebook group about Cancun. I noticed a lot of people ask questions about being here.
So we thought we'd actually compile a list of do's and don'ts of what we've picked up and based on what we've also researched.
And hopefully this will make you feel more comfortable when you come to Cancun or Mexico itself, because for the most part, it's fairly safe here, especially in this area. Maybe other parts of Mexico, not so much, but the Cancun, the Playa del Carmen area, very safe.
Yeah. Okay, so we thought we'd start with a list of do's.
Yes, always the positive first. So number one, have travel booked. When you're in the Cancun airport, don't think that you're just gonna grab a taxi and just go. There is a lot of people and they all want you to go with them, and then they all have different deals, and they might say $10 here, but then you get to the taxi and it's like $60. No, have that plan in place with your resort or with a taxi company. There have many taxi companies down here that you can get to.
Learn a little Spanish. Anybody that you talk to, any staff that you run into, it brings a smile to their face if you at least attempt their language. We noticed in the resort that people were able to speak a little more English, but when you're outside and actually out and about, you may come across a lot of people that don't quite speak English. So phrases like hola, gracias, buenas noches, those are phrases that at least get you going.
Yes.
Be sure to use little words, maybe the noun or the verb that you're trying to use.
Photo, bathroom.
It's a lot easier rather than trying to get complex, because if you don't speak it very well, you will confuse people.
Yes. So that brings us to our next do. When you're here, tip the staff. These people work really hard and they make not very much money. Just a little bit of a tip goes a long way. From what I have been reading and researching and asking other people about how much you should tip, I came up with 10 to 20% on restaurants. When you're at the restaurants, you're at the bars, you're getting massages, so like your waitress, all that stuff, 10 to 20% is a good amount. 25 to 50 pesos for your housekeeping staff per day, per room. That's about $3. That, typically that's what you normally tip at a normal hotel in America. A lot of times $3 to $5 a day. 40 to 50 for your hotel porters. Even like with our taxi drivers, we would give them like 100 pesos. Our last taxi driver, he drove us over an hour, so we gave him like 300 pesos, just a little bit of money.
Right.
Yeah.
So that brings us to our next point, which you want to get pesos and small bills. And make sure that your credit card has a 0% exchange rate, or at least a small exchange rate.
Yeah, so we noticed that our debit card was a 1% exchange rate on there, so that meant that they would charge us 1% for everything that we put on there. But our credit cards were all 0, so we've been charging on our credit cards to save money. And everybody has asked, should we use pesos? Should we use dollars? Should we use credit? It's up to you what you want to use. What we did was on the bigger places like Ripley's, Escarat, all that, we were comfortable enough to use our credit cards, fancy dinners, because we knew these were corporations and they were safe. Now, on the smaller businesses, pesos, and especially with this wait staff and all that, pesos go a long way with them. And sometimes you can use American money. You'll see it'll be in Mexican money or American money, and then you can decide from there. When you're paying with your credit card here, first use your intuition. Make sure that you feel safe using your credit card there. Next, when you are at the restaurants, have them bring the card reader to you. Our waitress did that last night. She brought the card reader to us. We were able to put the card in. We saw how much it was being charged and everything, so that we had a peace of mind knowing that we were not going to be overcharged for anything that we had bought.
Our final do is get traveler's insurance. If you get hurt, you jump off that cliff, you're having a good time, a little too much fun. If you get hurt, then you'll have coverage to be able to take care of it, because some of these medical bills can be thousands of dollars, and it's not easy to get back if you have this huge bill to pay.
Yeah, and so the people of Mexico enjoy free healthcare, but when Americans come down here, not so much.
It's a lot of money.
Yeah, so just plan, and I found we got our policy for $200. It came with accidental death insurance. It came with death insurance.
She had me looking over my shoulder.
Yeah. It came with like $150,000 if someone had a heart attack or something like that. And it also came with, if you had to leave here and be medevaced back to the United States, $500,000. So not bad for $200.
Right.
And peace of mind.
But hopefully you don't have to use it.
Yes.
That concludes our list of do's. So now we're going to get on to the don'ts, which this is, one you should probably really pay attention to, especially being an American traveling in Mexico.
Yes. Biggest one, the biggest don't here in Mexico, and I know you know this one. Don't drink the tap water.
Montezuma's revenge.
Yes. It's just it doesn't mix well with American stomachs.
Actually, I don't think it mixes well with any stomachs too. If you've noticed that they had a lot of filtered water and a lot of...
Yeah, we have noticed that. I was reading though, a lot of Mexican people drink soda a lot and they were having diabetes issues in here because they can't get to water. But bottled water. Brush your teeth with bottled water. That's what we've been doing, just a little bit of bottled water. Brush our teeth every day.
Yeah, so just be careful. Do not open your eyes underwater. Do not ingest any of the water when you be swimming in cenotes or swimming pools or anything.
Yeah, and so mixed drinks. Everyone's always about the mixed drinks. If you're at a resort and you see them bring these big bags of ice, that ice had been cleaned.
Yeah, it's filtered.
Yeah, it's all filtered. So we felt safe. We drank mixed drinks all week and we did not get sick, knock on wood.
Yeah, our vacation is not over yet, but I think we may have dodged a bullet.
Yeah. So, but also maybe bring some Imodium, I think it's called. Yeah, just in case, because that's the only thing that helps you if you do get
flush that stomach.
Get that sickness.
Our next don't is don't think that Mexican food is the same as it is in America. If you are anxious or you don't really like the American version of Mexican food, it does not taste the same here. They get really creative with spices. It just has a better flavor. Everything was very good. We enjoyed it. So don't be afraid to try the food here.
And they have Mexican fancy food here. So it's not just where 3 tacos for $1. No, they have fancy tacos here.
Right. So your tacos, your fajitas, your burritos, all those they just is presented a lot nicer and it just tastes cleaner.
And I don't think we gained any weight this trip because we walked like 16,000 steps. Hopefully.
Let's hope not, or let's hope we didn't. I haven't been near a scale in a week. So.
Yeah, right. That brings us to another point. Don't always take the first price. Now, if it's a museum or like a Ripley's, that price is set in stone. They're not going to change that for you. But some of these tours that people are trying to sell you, they're looking to get the biggest amount of money out of you. But if you tell them, I would like to do the tour, but maybe 150, not 2.
Or even just walk away.
Yeah.
They may tap you and say, hey, we'll lower it. Yeah.
And that's how most of these places are. There is a number that they're wanting to get to, at least.
Right. So just remember that the first price is not always the final price.
Yes.
So the next don't. There are a lot of critters running around in Mexico, and it's very cute. We loved all the animals. I mean, you will find stray dogs, stray cats, and everything like that.
So many cats.
But the advice is don't touch them, don't pet them, and especially don't feed them. Because if they get comfortable, then they're going to start bothering more people. And, you have to be cautious. And I would say that in just about any country in reality.
Yeah, the lizards were my favorite. They're so
they're
cute.
little cute guys.
And they walk around.
Yeah, strutting their stuff.
All right. So another don't here is don't drive at night in Mexico unless you are very comfortable. Mexican people know how to maneuver these roads. They go flying around these curves at night because they've lived here all their life. So they know them. You may not know them as well. It's kind of like the Fast and the Furious here. They don't slow down. Instead, if someone is stopping in front of them, they just go over and then go.
And it is not exclusive to just Mexico. We've seen that in other places, and even in America, you'll see people do that. It's just that there's a lot going on, and you have to be cautious.
Make sure you are comfortable. Even just driving in during the day, make sure you are an experienced driver if you're going to drive here, because there's so many different rules here. For the one thing, I don't think there were 3 lanes. I think it was just 1 lane, and
It was, if there were lines, they were faded.
Yeah.
And I consider myself an experienced driver, but you know, I'm also here to have a good time, so I don't want to deal with thinking about driving. I let other people do it.
let the taxi driver
Let
do
the locals do it.
Yeah. Yeah, because sometimes I felt like I was up on 2 wheels.
Right.
Fast and the Furious, right?
Yeah.
Plus, we heard that, you know, the cops have been known to mess around with you if you have
A rental car.
a rental car. So that could be an issue too, where they might give you a ticket.
And that can just clean out your whole trip.
Yeah.
Oh, which actually is another good point. Don't carry all your money with you at once.
Yeah. But car insurance, that's definitely a must if you're going to be driving around here. All right,
Okay.
so these are more of a caution.
Yeah, so we're going to go into a little bit more of a caution. They're don'ts, but be cautious about it. So be safe when you're buying tours. Not all tours are legit. So if you see somebody just on the side of the road and they're like, hey, we'll take you over to the island on our boat, you may want to check to make sure that there's a legitimate business there. Have them take you back to the shop that's actually booking the tours, because if they're not, you could get ripped off or possibly worse.
Yeah. And we've heard of people, they show up for their tours and nobody's there to pick them up after they've already paid.
Right.
Maybe-
You don't want to turn up missing.
What? Okay, back up. How in the hell do you turn up missing?
Yeah, maybe don't pay until you're on the boat. That could be a thing too. Be careful walking around at night, just like with any other city. Don't walk down dark alleys. We did walk back from our dinner last night, and there was families everywhere.
Yeah, it
We
was
felt
families
comfortable.
everywhere, and we were in the hotel zone, and it was well lit, and there's cars going back and forth
Yeah,
constantly.
we felt comfortable. But don't go down dark alleys.
Like it is in most countries.
Yes, in most countries, in most cities.
Our last tip, and certainly not the least,
But very important.
be careful that you don't drink too much.
The drinks down here are fairly cheap.
Mm-hmm.
You can find that bar and have a really good drink. Or are these inclusives?
Right, and we've had a lot of drinks, just even straight shots in that, where you don't really feel like you're drinking alcohol. It may be really easy for it to creep up on you and catch up to you. And of course, with that, you may become a little more reckless.
Yes.
And you certainly don't want to spend a night in a Mexican jail because you were disorderly.
You also don't want to drink too much and then end up at the hospital either.
Right.
Okay. Or you don't want to drink too much and then end up in a situation that maybe you are not comfortable with, especially if you're a female traveling alone.
Yes.
Watch your drinks, you know, stuff like that, ladies. You know, you have to be safe when you're out there.
Right.
I did start to feel a little sick here. I think it was just too much food. Yeah. One of the ladies from the resort, she recommend guava. She says this little fruit here will kill any bad bacteria in your stomach. So it's perfect. You eat it all except for the little thing here at the back. Take a bite. It's got seeds in it, but it kills everything in your stomach. That's bad.
And we noticed that just about every buffet that we were in had that kind, or had those fruits. So
And
I think that's how a lot of people actually stay above the bacteria.
Yeah, it tastes wonderful. I'm gonna take this home and start eating it at home too.
Yep. So this is a list we just compiled. We hope it helps you feel more comfortable. This is just based on some of the experiences that we had and some of the things that we saw.
We brought our 2 kids here, and the whole time we did feel completely safe. So we've seen families here with littler kids than our kids, and everyone seems to be having a good time.
Yes. And it is spring break week. Woo!
Spring break. Spring break.
So there's a lot of younger college kids down here and that too, but everybody seemed to be on their best behavior. I'm sure there were stories that people will be sharing that don't have a nice ending, but
Yeah,
you know, it is what it is.
We had a great experience.
We did, yes. So, as always, thank you for coming along with us. Keep exploring.
And we'll see you on the next one.